Welcome and happy, beautiful day. Welcome to Smart Impressions. I'm Rachel, and I am excited about this show today because not only are we unlocking business relationships one connection at a time, but we are bringing to you the solutions of if you have been sitting up in bed late at night wondering, how am I going to make my business go global into new markets and how am I going to make it thrive? Well, you're going to love my guest today. So please welcome to Smart Impressions, Susanna Kalantaryan. Thank you so much, the CEO of TripleA Advisory. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, darling. Thank you for inviting. You look amazing.
You're so sweet. You look amazing. I love people just feeling good and feeling great. And you are full of knowledge that we're going to share with our audience today. I do invite everyone who's listening to jump in if you have any questions, because this one's great. It's called Reality Check. We are going to go global. We're going to unlock those blind spots that you may be thinking of and maybe not even aware of, and talk about the bridging the cultures, because if you're going outside of your country, then you're going to need to know what's happening in every other country to help support your business growth. Wouldn't you agree with that, Susanna?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You always need a helping hand in a new region and in a new market.
Absolutely. And so that's exactly what you're doing here in the region, in the world. And I want to get right to it because we do have a limited time. Listen, you've worked with clients all over the globe, and I'm sure you're seeing a similar kind of thought process in how they're going to get into these new markets and what challenges they have when they don't do any research about it, right?
Right. They always have this sense that they have a genuine product, which is good, really good when you believe in your product. But when you don't address the market properly, when you don't do your research and homework properly, you come and face another reality. And that's where the denial comes. Yeah. So it's kind of a misjudgment, an active refusal to see what's market demanding at that time. And that's where their expectations collapse. You know, they don't understand the market. They don't know what is expected. They had a product that worked well in their home market, and they have to adjust it to a new market without having any knowledge on the demand and on the feedback from the real buyers.
Wow, denial is a big one, because I can't imagine that being very easy for people to overcome, and especially if there's a lack of awareness. How do you kind of navigate through those challenges?
It's always a step from being at one point to getting to another point. So you have to do a kind of inventory reality and ask hard questions. You know, what is on the market available now? Why is it available? Even if it's bad, in your opinion, why is it still available, and why there is nothing even compatible like you do? Probably there are some reasons, and that's helping to find those reasons. You know, talking to real possible partners. We don't call them clients. You know, they're always collaborator or partners, because when you elevate them to a certain level, you start building another level of relationship and trust. And then when the truth opens, so do the inventory reality, then create an unfiltered feedback loops. So build a culture where truth is not punished but welcomed. So because without an honest input, the adaptation is impossible. So we are trying to be always as honest as possible to help them see what they are going to face and how they are going to address those challenges. And also manage the stress responses and use some tools that will help you recognize your own stress patterns and turn to the clarity faster without turning it into a blame game. So if you don't shift the perspective by choice, the market will force you on its own terms. And the clarity is not just strategic advantage, it's a survival in a new market.
Yeah, and there's no doubt. Well, I think anyone that's listening today, it's about that survival and really supporting them with that growth. And clearly in the Middle East, which I know is one of the regions that you focus on, Dubai is the topic of everyone's conversation. You know, everyone's coming in Dubai. You hear the numbers, thousands of people are coming from Europe to come over to this market with this opportunity. I think it's the same kind of ideology that maybe people had of America at one time. Maybe they still do, of the American dream. Now it's the Dubai dream, right? If it's not the chocolate, it's basically building businesses here from an entrepreneurial standpoint. What kind of areas from your expertise do Western companies consistently misunderstand when they do business in the Arab world?
Maybe the first one is, treating the Arab region as a transactional market rather than a relationship-driven ecosystem. So they often underestimate the depth of personal trust, the cultural sensitivity, long-term commitment to, unpin successful business in the GCC. So if we speak about the speed, it doesn't equal to urgency. Business in the Gulf may move totally in a different rhythm. We always say like 5 Arab minutes, maybe 30 minutes in West, but that doesn't mean that there is a lack of urgency. Decisions are often made based on trust, not just data that you provide. And then contracts don't equal relationship as well. In West, the deal starts when we already signed the contract, while in the Arab world, in the Middle East, it is the relationship that starts with the contract, and it doesn't mean that when you sign, it will be implemented unless you build this relationship. And also, probably I would say misreading the formality as distance, because respectful formality is not just a barrier, it's a sign of dignity and structure. And when you rush too fast, to get this personal, to get too personal to the person, it can even backfire at you. So it's always about culture, emotion, and the power dynamics that you build. And this is what you have to be very, very careful about. Because behind every business, there is a person. And when you come to present only your business and you don't want to unveil your personality, they don't have the perception that they can do business with you because you're not trustful enough. If you don't trust, then it means that you do not deserve trust as well. You're hiding something. That's always about reading between lines and building those bridges between cultures and trying to find at least what is common rather than what is different.
No doubt. You're preaching, to the choir here, girl, because I am, I love this. I love it because you need face-to-face time, that human connections to really do that, and this is where your expertise comes in of focusing on the intercultural mediation. Can you talk about a little what that means? Because that's so poignant for this region specifically. And I think the globe as a whole, as we're moving towards a more globalized economy, any big city is going to need this service and help in these areas as technology increases on down. So just for the audience, so they understand what exactly that means, because this is so beautiful. It's such a great term.
In simple words, it's like translating from human to human, because we may speak the same English language. We may have different cultural origins and speak English because we've learned it at our home place. Yeah. But we do not translate. We do not, pass forward the way that we understand the same information. There are many, many layers of, sensitivity and emotional intelligence hidden in this. So it's always trying to help to understand what was said in fact rather than what was announced, and it's always different. You always have to be able to feel this feedback, because you've been living there for a long time. You have faced it many times that you do not get the negative response from the market openly. It is always written between the lines, and you have to perceive. They always give you a compliment. They always try to postpone the meeting for the next time, which might not even happen, because either they didn't understand what exactly you want from them, they don't understand what opportunities and big light you bring to that region. Probably they don't need this light. Who told you that you should be preaching this light to them? It's always about tuning up to the channel of the communication, to the filter of that person, to be able to put your information in the words that he will be able to understand. So that's basically what we do. We do not change the product itself of the client. We always try to adjust and tune it to the language and to the cultural perception in the region so that it can work for them best of all.
Amazing. And I think in some businesses, they may refer to this as like customer engagement or something, but it doesn't matter who your customer is. It doesn't have to be a paying customer. It could be a person within your organization that just needs to work with you, right, harmoniously. And so I love that. And I know that you probably work on intelligence, emotional intelligence and body language, and even the areas of cultural adaptation really ranges. But those, would you say, are those the pillars of really success in what you're doing?
Yeah, sure. For example, let's compare two words. Yeah, we have negotiation in the West, which is a very strong term in terms of power, and we have a dialogue. So when you come into negotiations in the Western world, it's totally perceived okay. But when you come to the Middle East, to the Arab world to negotiate, that's kind of strange. You have to build the dialogue. You come to discuss and talk. And the dialogue should never end with a full stop and totally negative. Yes, we do that, or no, we don't do that. Always leave there a space where you can maneuver, or where you can go back and think about it. Probably you will adjust something, or you probably will come at the right time. So it's not the right time, you will come in 1 year, but you will keep this relationship, you will keep the contact with the person, and you will have another chance to do the second time, the first impression. So that's what we do. Or we speak about the deadline and timeline. Yeah, if you speak about deadline, you put kind of a pressure. You are always in time. But when you give the timeline, and you can balance with that without putting like extra pressure on your Arab colleague, that will help him, find another way to probably bring this communication to someone else that is more proficient, more keen, more experienced. And that's it. But then you help him to preserve his face. So you don't show him as a person that doesn't have knowledge or that lacks professionalism. So it's always trying to balance and always helping each other to keep the face. And it's also, as I mentioned, client and partner. Yeah, it's not a client, it's always a partner, because when you level him up to the certain state, to the certain level, he will have this feeling of, trustful relationship, and he will act like a partner. It's not just a client who you're trying to sell a product or candy or something else. You sold and then you forgot about the person.
Yeah, I love this because it really taps into communication. And I'm sure we can go into this for a long time and talk about the genders and how they vary. I think at the end of the day, we're talking about ego, right? And there's going to be clearly the awareness of somebody else's ego you can elevate it versus, working against their ego. And if you aren't even aware of this, is a great start to just start discussing this. And this is why it's so important for us to have this discussion. I love it, but we do run out of time. It's so quick. It's just a teaser for our audience about how helpful and the resources that we have in the region to really help businesses grow. I want your help with the following. If you could leave our listeners with the top 3 tips for successfully entering and thriving in new markets, especially in culturally rich regions like the Middle East, UAE, what would those top 3 be?
Probably the most important one, if you're not very well aware about the cultural peculiarities of the region, is listen before you lead. Because when you give your counterpart the possibility to lead, he will guide you through the cultural, steps and stones, and he will be quite gentle and mild towards you, because you are a foreigner. You are not expected to act as a person who was born in an Arab family and knows it, by blood. So they will be very gentle, and they will give you excuses to that, and they will just work as an advisor for you in this process. The second, yes, do please invest time in cultural intelligence development. So learning how the hierarchy, honor, hospitality shape the business dynamic in the region is crucial. Don't be very, pressy and very harsh. We're we lack time, so we have to go faster, and you just have to relax, and you have to admit that the time is totally different in that region. And you should always consider partnering with local players, because success rarely goes solo, and strategic local alliances may open the doors for you, even in the places and even in the neighboring markets that you didn't expect. So don't observe Dubai as a small city or a single emirate, but observe it as a center from where, a narrow bottleneck from where you can expand your business in the region. And make sure that you have enough power and enough resources to expand, because if not, the market will tear you up. Yeah, that's another virtue of going global. So make sure that you have enough resources for that.
Cool. Well, that was 4. We got lucky with an extra add-on value. So thank you for that, Susanna. Just kind of repeat it for anyone that didn't write it down. Listen before you lead. Time, cultural intelligence. So it's all about that cultural intelligence. It's empowering. Don't push. Don't lack time. I say stay in the state of flow, and then obviously have your resources so it can support you effectively. And now we know the Gulf, the region, we have every single nationality on the globe in this city. So even if you're not targeting someone who may be of Arab descent, it could be Indian, it could be South continent, it could be Asian, it could be African, it could be American. You have a plethora of cultures to really overcome and you connect with. And so if you're struggling, Susanna's your girl. Susanna, I can't thank you enough for being here and sharing your expertise with our community. So thank you. All the gratitude in the world.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this honor. And we had a very interesting conversation. And I'm sure we can, keep talking hours and hours without stopping.
No doubt. No doubt. I love it. I love it. And I'm so blessed to have you on the show with us so that we can share this expertise for anyone doing business here, because we need to empower each other together as partners. And so I'm going to leave everyone with that, and if you need to get in touch, you got problems, get in touch with Susanna. Her details are below. And please do jump in with questions so we can answer them and help you in your journey of building your businesses in the Gulf.
Yeah.
That's it for me. So thank you so much for joining. Thanks, Susanna.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Have a great, great, great day.